It's your boy, the P to the A, with a quick fish soup recipe. It's gonna be a good one, so subscribe if you haven't. So here we're starting off with some black sea bass. I have cleaned these out. They look beautiful, they're nice and fresh. We're basically gonna cut these up and we're gonna boil them and we're gonna make the fish stock. To this soup, we're gonna add some potatoes, some onions, and you can see I have cut up the fish, the black bass, into pieces here, and we're gonna put this in some boiling water with salt. And what we're gonna do here is make a nice fish stock. So I'm just gonna go ahead and season this with some sea salt, and then once this is nice and seasoned with the salt, we're gonna add it to the water. And of course, I'm throwing the fish head in there and everything else. I have cleaned this fish, removed all the guts, so you can see it's nice and clean, and we're gonna use this to make a broth. We're using the whole fish in order to produce a tasty and rich fish stock. So again, these are all cleaned. We're gonna add them in there, and you can see how beautiful and white this fish looks. To this, I'm gonna go ahead and add a bay leaf. We're gonna bring it to a boil, let it simmer, and once we're doing that, I'm gonna go to the yard. I'm gonna get some green onions. This is gonna be topped on the soup, and also I'm gonna go ahead and get some parsley from my garden. If you don't have it, obviously get it from the store, but I went to the back of my garden. I got the green onions, and here you can see there's some parsley. I'm gonna look for a better piece of parsley up here somewhere in the yard. And once I have that, this is what I'm going to use. I'm also going to add some of this parsley to the boiling stock and a little bit of the green onion just to give her a little bit more flavor, but this is mostly going to be for a garnish. You can see that the stock is now boiling. I'm going to go ahead and add that parsley. It doesn't look very appetizing right now, but I'm going to go ahead and turn it down a little bit, put the cover back in, and let it simmer for a little bit more. So the fish stock process took about 25 to 30 minutes. Once I tasted the water and it tastes like a good fish stock, I'm going to go ahead and remove all that fish out of there, and we're going to go ahead and put the fish stock through that sieve, and we're going to remove all the imperfections and all that stuff that shouldn't be there, so we're left with a nice clean broth. In the same pan, I'm going to go ahead and add olive oil, and then I'm going to add my potatoes and my onions. To this, I'm going to go ahead and add a little black pepper, paprika, and this is all going to get incorporated in the potatoes and the onions that I'm going to be adding, and it's just really going to develop more flavors on top of that fish broth. Unlike me, you probably want to get rid of all the water in your pan before you add the olive oil. To that, I added a little bit of tomato paste. Now I'm going to go ahead and slowly add my fish broth that we made, and this is going to be slowly adding it in there. I'm also going to add a little bit of saffron just to give it color and flavor, and really all we're doing here is we're adding flavors. So here you can see I'm adding the saffron, and I think this really gives it a Mediterranean taste to it. I'm adding some orzo, and of course I did add the potatoes, so you can add just the pasta or just the potatoes or both like I did. You see that we have the fish here. I remove all the bones, and you can see that white flaky fish. And now when the potatoes are tender and all the onions are tender, I'm going to add a fish nor, and this is going to elevate the broth even more. I know some people don't like to use it. You don't have to. But all the fish now that I removed all the bones and a lot of the skins, I'm going to go ahead and add it to the broth and to the potatoes that are now cooked. You want to add your fish at the end so it doesn't fall apart. Remember, the fish is already cooked. You just want to let it sit there and take on some of those flavors of the soup and the broth that you made. Really, the broth is what makes this dish fabulous. Fish soup is a really traditional Portuguese dish that I grew up eating at home, at restaurants. My mom used to make it all the time and still does. And it's just a fabulous soup and delicious and healthy. So here you have it, a quick fish soup recipe. You can go ahead and change some of the things that I did here and make it your own. But this is the basic and just of it. It's a great dish on a cold, windy day. It'll warm you up, it'll taste good, and it's healthy for you. If you like this dish, check out my channel. I have a great Portuguese octopus recipe that you're gonna love. I hope this video has been helpful. If it has, put a like, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.